With the new 48-team World Cup already in the horizon, Conmebol will get 2 additional direct qualifying slots, taking the total up to 6, keeping a spot to the Intercontinental Playoffs. With this, it's possible that 7 out of the 10 Conmebol members can make the next World Cup, which is insane. But it also had me thinking that with this change, we'll never see something like the events that unfolded on matchday 18 of the Conmebol qualifiers for the FIFA World Cup of 2018. Let's set the scene. It's the afternoon of October 10th, 2017, and the table looks something like this. With only one game left to be played, a single team have secured direct qualification to the World Cup, Brazil, sitting comfortably in first with 38 points. Second place Uruguay are not guaranteed qualification, but with 28 points and then playing Bolivia at home as their final game, it would take a catastrophe of biblical proportions for them to not qualify. Below them is complete pandemonium. Chile sitting third with 26 points and a +2 goal difference. The reigning Copa America champions are not in a comfortable position whatsoever, as they have multiple teams breathing down their neck, and their last game is Brazil in Sao Paulo. Colombia also have 26 points and a +2 goal difference, but having scored less goals than Chile, in fourth as the last team qualifying to the World Cup. Their next game is in Lima, where they'll play the team directly below them, Peru, who are in the verge of completing a historic campaign as they had not featured in a World Cup since 1982, and with 25 points and a +1 goal difference, they sit in the playoff spot. Shockingly, in 6th place we find Argentina. After making the World Cup final in 2014, Messi and company are on the verge of not being able to seek revenge in Russia. Just like Peru, they have 25 points and a +1 goal difference, but having scored only 16 goals in 17 games, sees them out of the World Cup as it stands. And their last game is Ecuador on the road, and La Albiceleste has not beaten Ecuador in Quito in over 16 years. 7th place is Paraguay with 24 points and a -5 goal difference, who, being 1 point behind and their last game being Venezuela at home, still have an outside chance to qualify, but it will take a miracle because of all the teams in the race and their abysmal goal difference. 8th place is Ecuador, who after picking up 12 out of 12 points in the first 4 match days, only collected 8 in their next 13 games, leaving them with a total of 20 points and nothing to play for in the last match day. Same as other 2 teams used to this situation, Bolivia and Venezuela, who complete the table and can only play spoiler. With that, all games are set, and all 5 hold some stakes in the final seeding for the World Cup. So, there was only one thing left to do: let the chaos ensue. We only had to wait 40 seconds for the first goal of the night as Romario Ibarra puts Ecuador in the lead against Argentina, sinking La Albiceleste further down in the table. It seemed like maybe there would be no revenge in Russia. Argentina stared into their TVs in disbelief as they watched the World Cup evade them once more. It was hopeless. More than ever, Argentina needed a hero. In less than 20 minutes, Lionel Messi would flip the game on its head and put Argentina from 6th all the way up to 3rd and directly into the World Cup. The little man had done it again. This was obviously terrible news for Peru, who were being pushed out of the playoff spot and missing out on the World Cup again. They'd have to beat Colombia if they wanted to make it. Meanwhile, in Montevideo, Uruguay's defense was having some trouble figuring out in which goal they were supposed to score, but once they sorted that out, they took the lead against Bolivia and solidified themselves in the 2nd position of the table. And this is how first halves would end. Uruguay were completely out of danger, Messi had single-handedly pushed Argentina into direct qualification, Chile were holding on to a draw in Brazil and keeping the last direct ticket to Russia. Colombia was keeping Peru away from the playoff spot with their draw in Lima. Paraguay still couldn't find a goal against Venezuela, but even if they did, their goal difference was so bad they wouldn't get in unless other results play in their favor. With 3 of the games still 0-0, the tide could change with a single goal. And at 55 minutes, we would get 2. First, Paulinho would put La Canariña ahead, bringing Chile down to 26 points and a +1 goal difference, but still holding on to the 5th position over Peru due to the amount of goals scored. However, in a matter of seconds, Chileans would give a sigh of relief as James Rodriguez scored and put Colombia on the lead in Lima, pushing them to 3rd and bringing Peru to their last legs. The Estadio Nacional in Lima went quiet as fans were forced to watch the same old story, their team missing out on the World Cup once more after coming so close. Chile would soon be thanking James for that goal even more, as 2 minutes later Gabriel Jesus would double Brazil's lead. The table didn't change, however, with Chile's goal difference going down to 0, Peru would simply have to equalize to overtake them. Meanwhile, Luis Suarez would score 2 more goals to seal out Uruguay's win over Bolivia. Uruguay's defense, however, was still having trouble figuring out which goal they were supposed to attack, but even with those inconveniences, Uruguay would get a routinary win to book their tickets to Russia. Same as Argentina, with Messi scoring another beauty to put the game to bed. Now all eyes were on Lima. Colombia were qualifying directly, Chile were getting the playoff spot, and Peru were missing out. But a single goal could change everything. Suddenly, 74 minutes in, and Peru gets an indirect free kick after a dangerous challenge from Fabra. Free kick would have to be put into the box instead. But what's this? Paolo Guerrero is lining up to take the shot. Does he know that the free kick is indirect? Is he out of his mind? Did the pressure get to him? No! Cause using his amazing mind-controlling techniques, he tricks Ospina into tapping the ball into his own net. 1-1 and the whole stadium erupts in joy. An earthquake so loud it reaches Chile, who are now being pushed out of the playoff slot by their neighbors to the north, while Colombia dropped to 4th, still just barely qualifying to the World Cup directly. Chile, tied in points with Peru, were missing out on the playoff spot by a single goal. If they could get one back against Brazil, they would go over Peru in head-to-head. But with these results, a new challenger approached. Paraguay still couldn't find a breakthrough against last place Venezuela in Asunción, but if they could find just one goal, they would be the ones getting the playoff slot against all odds. Any other day, beating Venezuela at home would have been easy, but that day was just one of those days. And in a jaw-dropping turn of events, Yangel Herrera would find the back of the net in the 84th minute and give Venezuela only their second win of the campaign, and to silence the Stadium Defensores del Chaco, as Paraguay missed out on the World Cup yet again. With knowledge of Paraguay's elimination, word began spreading around the Estadio Nacional in Lima about this draw favoring both teams, Falcao being the main negotiator as Colombia were directly qualifying to the World Cup. Guerrero asked, "Are we qualifying?" And yes, Peru still held the playoff slot, but just barely. A single goal from Chile could still leave them empty-handed. But Peruvians, after not attaining a World Cup for 36 years, were liking those odds, and so a ceasefire between Peru and Colombia was agreed. The ball would go back and forth the Peruvian back line as people on the stands prayed for both games to end. Meanwhile, in Sao Paulo, Chile desperately fought to get their goal. In the last ball of the game, Chile get a corner and Claudio Bravo runs up to help in a last-ditch effort, but it results in nothing, leaving Gabriel Jesus all alone to score the third and eliminate for good the reigning Copa America champions of the World Cup. And so, as the final whistles blew, Brazil, Uruguay, Argentina and Colombia could say for sure, with more suffering in some cases than others, that they were going to Russia. Peru, on the other hand, would have to wait a bit more, but after waiting 36 years, waiting another month didn't sound so bad. and so after a 0-0 draw in Auckland, Peru would beat New Zealand 2-0 in Lima to give a whole generation of Peruvians the joy of watching their nation at a World Cup. However, history could have been a lot different. To see how, we have to go back to September of 2016, where after drawing with Bolivia 0-0 in Santiago, the Chilean FA accused Bolivia of fielding in defender Nelson Cabrera illegally, as Cabrera had been born in Paraguay and hadn't fulfilled FIFA's demands to change nationalities. And so Chile were awarded a 3-0 win and 2 extra points. However, in that same window, Peru had also lost 2-0 to Bolivia in La Paz, and Cabrera had also come off the bench in that game. So Peru sent in a similar complaint and got 3 extra points. Had Chile not made any protest, the table would have looked something like this. In an absurdly unlucky turn of fate, Chile's petty protest for 2 extra points got them eliminated from the World Cup. I guess it's true when they say karma is a bitch. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching this video. Hope you find this story entertaining. I'll be seeing you guys next time.